have an opportunity here to provide leadership, support, and a voice to the voiceless. The sacrifices that we made during our service do not end here. We carry on. We push forward, and we give hope and inspiration through love, community, and support. Stay free.
Rights and freedoms in this country are absolutely everything to me because I personally know the sacrifice required in order to get them back once they're gone. So, when my brothers and sisters call Stand 2, be sure I'll be there.
Legacy media will play their games, right? Like, this isn't about this or that. This is about freedom, period.
The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Brothers and sisters in uniform, whether you're a police officer, military, check your hearts. Look where we're going. Man, wake up. I beg you.
If the veterans can't stand up and get a message across to the government, I don't know who can. I don't know. But we're going to give it our best shot. And I think we have a chance to win this and do it. But we need your help. And we need you to come, and we need you to stand too. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk again soon.
Got a sunburn to peel the daggers off your tongue. Young and dumb, I'm rotting like a bed sore in a cold case that's never gonna be more than scratching at the walls while you're waiting for a bullet to come. All along I've been treading in the deep end. Throw my mirror in the cupboard for the weekend. Try and put together pieces while I'm dreaming, but nothing's adding up to a thing but a hole in the head.
Woke pirates, yes they're robbing, sold out to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took out from the bottomless pit, my head was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing These songs of freedom is all I ever have. Redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Oh, have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. Got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? It's all I ever have. Redemption songs, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Oh, have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. Got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? It's all I ever have. Redemption songs, redemption songs. It's all I ever have. Redemption songs, redemption songs, redemption songs.
Hey, what's up, troops? Jeff Evely, the Magnanimous GenX'er Male. I'm back with you now on this 11th day of March 2023. Got a great show lined up for you here today. Chris Dacey is backstage, ladies and gentlemen, and he was just checking out the massive anti-Israel / pro-Hamas demonstrations taking place there in Ottawa over the weekend. All kinds of stuff going on there. Holy smokes. So it's going to be a good one, guys. Alrighty, let's go ahead and say good day to everybody. Shiloh, first one on the board over on Rumble, says, oh my, this is going to be the perfect starting point for my week. Not late today, Sergeant Major. Chris, nice to see you this morning on the other show. I couldn't watch it all. Good job, all. Yeah, I think that was Jason Levine. So Chris was over on Jason Levine there this morning, and now he's here with us now. He's a busy guy in high demand. Kimmer over on X says, thank you. Okay, well, you're welcome. And Drake says, anti-Israel equals being a cuck. Yeah, pretty much. It seems to me like it's part of the woke dogma, at least. And I think there's a lot of residual indoctrination out there. It's anti-Western. It's an anti-Western psyop that we're being subjected to right now. And Israel, of course, is the only Western power in the Middle East. So it's not surprising that the commies would hate them. Okay, and here is Catherine saying, I just saw One Love was amazing. Oh, cool. Right on. Glad you like it. And Free the Oppressed says detention song. Yeah, no kidding. That's pretty much the state of affairs here in Canada here today. Darlene says, good afternoon, everyone watching from snowy New Brunswick. Share. Yes, please. All the top cover I can get. I am the worst guy for not sharing my own stuff, so please give me a hand with that. And Darlene, thanks for being on board with us as always. And Patricia saying, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to you. Mother of the Drummers on YouTube says, good morning, Jeff, Chris, and Chad. Good morning to you. Evelyn says, hello, all. Hello to you, Evelyn. And Jamie is here saying, greetings from Ontario. Ontario it is, except for the motorcycle riding, of course. And Cindy says, good afternoon, Jeff, hearts and friends. Giving us a smiley face. Thanks for being with us, Cindy. And Rob is here saying, good morning, everyone. Happy Muckraker Monday. Good morning to you. And Linda saying, thanks for sharing. Thank you for being with us. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this sucker here, folks. Here we have our philosophy meme for the day, quote, whatever. And this is Rene Descartes. And he says, to know what people really think, pay regard to what they do rather than what they say. Yeah, that is kind of been my guiding mantra for a number of years. Judge people by what they do, not by what they say, because they pretty much just say whatever the hell they think the other people want to hear, right? So we're going to be doing a little bit of that as we move forward here. But here is our meme for today before we get into it here. And this is one of these guys. I don't know where this fuzzy little critter guy comes from, some show where he's like giving the side eye and then he's looking straight ahead like he's got a very guilty look on his face. But he says, when asking the 2 million Arabs in Israel why they don't protest against Israel for Hamas, yeah, nobody's asking that question, are they? And there are 2 million Arabs who live in Israel quite happily and prosperously as full citizens who vote and even hold positions on the Supreme Court where they end up putting Jewish prime ministers and presidents in jail. That has happened. So anyway, it is a beacon of freedom and equality in the Middle East, in an otherwise dark corner of the world. And so it's no surprise that it would be the target of the massive psyop that we're all being subjected to right now. Okay, so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring in our man of the hour here, Chris Dacey. How you doing today, brother? Good to see you.
Hey, Jeff, been a while. It's good to see you. Glad to be on.
Yeah, likewise, man. Yeah, I guess it has been. It's been a few weeks anyway since we last did a catch up. It seems like
yeah, I had to cancel on you a couple of times just because of stuff going on here. So you never know what might pop up in Ottawa and around. So glad that we're able to connect here now.
Max flex is the battle cry, as we say in the military. We got to be flexible, especially like we are in a war here. It's an ideological war. So anyway, we got to adjust, and we understand that around Veterans for Freedom here. So no big deal, brother. We appreciate everything you do. All right. So Chris, you were obviously in Ottawa over the weekend. You want to set this up for us? What's going on there?
Yeah. So I mean, for months now, actually, I mean, pretty much since the terrorist attack in Israel way back in, what was it, October 7th, I guess it was. We've had regular protests. I guess anti-Israel would be a good way to put it. Some people would say pro-Palestine, but it seems to be more anti-Israel, anti-West type of protests. We've had these going on weekly for months now, sometimes multiple times per week. Many thousands of people taking to the streets, Palestinian flags, drums, genocidal chants, all the usual fun stuff. And that's been ongoing for quite a while. This weekend was a little bit different as they tried to have the biggest one, and they were busing people in from Toronto and Montreal. So they have regular large protests there as well in both those cities. And for this one, they bussed people in to Ottawa from Montreal and Toronto. I don't know how many bus loads, but I mean, this one, I saw one where Ottawa police estimated one of the biggest ones was about 10,000. This one, I couldn't even begin to guess how many people. It was blocks long. I mean, blocks wide. It was a sea of people that you would know Wellington Street. It's about 3 lanes wide, and there's 20 feet of sidewalk on either side, and it was filled from side to side. I mean, drums. We'll see it later, but smoke grenades or smoke bombs, whatever you want to call it. They were setting up structures and sound equipment and all kinds of wild stuff.
And no fines for encumbering a highway?
No, not that I heard. There was, as they were setting up earlier in the day, there was a vehicle, like it was an old panel van type of thing, a red panel van from Quebec. And they pulled up right on Wellington Street, pulled over on the side of the road where, no one's ever allowed to stop there. They're pretty quick to stop people normally. And they started unloading like plywood and skids and scaffolding. And that van was there for a while. Bylaw came. And I think that person may have gotten a bylaw fine. Ottawa police did come in, but, it's hard to manage this kind of stuff with these huge crowds. Ottawa police did have quite a few people preparing public order units and whatnot, but this crowd was so big, so big that it's, they got to kind of, I guess, be careful how they approach these things. You don't want to give them too much credit, but like these huge crowds, and man, they have to approach it a little differently than when they approach just 6 of us standing with our freedom signs or whatever.
Yeah, right. I don't imagine they're quite as aggressive when they're dealing with a crowd that size. So.
No.
And Cindy is saying, thanks for the birthday wishes yesterday. It was a lovely day and give it a start. Well, I slacked, I guess, Cindy. I must have missed that one, but happy birthday to you. And everybody give a happy birthday to Cindy. Thanks for being with us, Cindy. That's it's always great to have you on board, and happy birthday. Okay, let's get a look at this now. We're going to start this off. This one is from a while ago. This is from February 12th. So a little over a month ago, or about a month ago. And Dacey is saying, after Palestinian demonstrators moved from the PMO, Justin Trudeau decided it was safe to come out of the office for a stroll. And this is you. So, all right. Do you want to let us know kind of what's going on in this clip here?
Yes. So this was about a month ago. So, I mean, like I said, these protests have been ongoing for a long time. They often make their way by the Prime Minister's office. On this day, I guess they got word that he was in the office. So protesters had taken to the street. They basically, earlier on, maybe an hour or two before this, they had the entire block in front of the Prime Minister's office basically covered. The RCMP were kind of scrambling. They sent off his detail at one point without him. Trying to maybe distract people. I mean, they made it look like they were leaving, but we had people around. We knew he wasn't in the vehicle, and he kind of hid out in the office. And eventually, it was a large crowd. I mean, a few thousand, I would say, that were on the block and taking over Wellington Street. They eventually made their way away from that area, and they went down towards the Israeli embassy and marching around town. So when that happened, Justin Trudeau then took his chance. He came out for a stroll. He was going to an event a few blocks away down Wellington. And I had followed that protest and march around. And before I decided to call it quits for the day, I wanted to go back and see if he was still there. And I waited for a few minutes, and out walked Justin Trudeau. So I get almost over a minute here walking, and got to ask him a few questions about it. So.
Yeah, I mean, we don't call him the coward in the cottage for nothing, eh? All right. Here is Justin Trudeau sneaking out.
Mr. Trudeau, would you care to Would you care to comment on the massive group of Palestinian demonstrators that just took over the street in front of your office? They accused you and your government of genocide. They're marching through the streets of Ottawa right now, banging drums, snarling traffic all over the place.
You invited a Nazi.
Any comment?
Are you going to resign?
Any comment at all? You going to address any of the issues going on in your country?
You made Rhoda resign, Trudeau. You made him resign.
What about?
You invited him to dinner. Are you going to resign like him?
Can we talk about a rise scam, maybe? $60 million?
Yeah, how about the Arrive Scan app?
No? How about you choose? You choose the scandal.
Get vaccinated to get on a plane.
The Emergencies Act you invoked here being illegal, unjustified, an overstep of your authority. Do you want to address any of the conflicts and issues we have in our country?
Anything, Trudeau? Anything to say to the people?
Nothing to say, eh, big guy?
We know you're a narcissist.
She's right.
Final.
You're a
Just
sociopath.
take it a stroll with all your buddies here.
You are a sociopath. You are a narcissist.
Where are we headed anyways? Clearly he's not going to answer a single question.
Be our prime minister anymore.
Can you at least give us the narcissistic wave you're famous for?
Trudeau.
At least give us the narcissist wave, man. Come on.
Nobody likes you anymore.
One wave, man. One wave. One wave.
You have nothing.
Your
have no
your
legacy,
time is
Trudeau.
going to end.
You have no legacy.
What is the lady's name who's yelling at him there? I know you know her.
That's Christine Cameron. I believe she's D Squared News on X. If anyone wants to follow her, Christine Cameron. She's
Right on.
I've known her for quite a while, and she helps me too in the background with quite a few things. So
Yeah, I see her in a lot of your clips, and she was the
you
one who was
might
the RCMP officer that time, wasn't she?
yes, exactly. And yes, that she did file a complaint about that. So there was a similar situation to this in better weather and during the day. We were questioning Trudeau, kind of scrumming him or giving him the gears, and we walked a few blocks with him. And just before he got to an event with it was actually Hillary Clinton that was speaking at it during the Liberal convention. An RCMP officer, not part of his detail, he came in kind of out of nowhere and grabbed Christine, like gave no orders whatsoever. Threatened to arrest us. Man, he kind of manhandled her. Since then, actually, a bit of a development. So she did file a complaint, and it took a while, but that's all going through. In fact, I'm going to meet with RCMP next week to give my statement. So they are investigating that. So
Nice.
maybe something may come of that incident. This one went smoothly. No one tried to attack us.
Yeah, we've shown that clip here a couple of times, and it just seems like, there's this random RCMP officer who hears somebody yelling at Trudeau, decides he doesn't like it, so he pulls up his car and jumps out and puts his hands all over a woman, and nobody's arrested, nobody's detained, any of that. But you guys handle that really well. I think you're getting used to it.
Yeah, that really handcuffed him, those words, right? Like he grabbed her and he had given no orders. He had made no statements whatsoever. And then I just immediately yelled, like, are we being detained? And then he kind of froze up. I think he realized, like, oh shit, I may have done something wrong here. And he kind of peeled out and got in his car, but he later threatened to arrest me again, got in my face, said I was, it was a pretty wild scene, actually.
Yeah,
should probably file my own complaint against that while I'm at it down there with the RCMP. But.
Yeah, he kept shouting, do you want to be arrested at you? And you were like, arrested for what? Here is Sherry saying the Liberal government brought these men, no women or children, into Canada and the USA to disrupt our countries with these protests, which Trudeau and Biden can't do anything about and are joined by Antifa. This is going to turn into a civil war. Those people need to go back to their own country and protest like they do here. Oh yeah, if they acted like if they acted like that in their country, they would be shot down. I think that's the conclusion that a lot of people are coming to right now. And this is something that I've been saying for a while. Like the whole agenda here is to destabilize the West. And we have some Manchurian candidates running our countries right now that definitely appear to have at least been helped, if not installed, by the Chinese Communist Party. And the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. So that's what they do, is they just kind of flood our countries with people who hate us, and will basically implode in a civil war on our own, and they'll have us conquered without even firing a shot. I tend to agree. All right.
She hit on something too that I think is important is Antifa.
Yes.
There's a definite and noticeable Antifa presence, either if you want to say infiltrated or, I mean, they're very much part of this. Often they're the ones kind of like marshalling and running security for this massive group of people. Not that they don't need security, I wouldn't say, but often Antifa are mixed in there. So I've had a few run-ins with Antifa types during these.
Yeah, it's right up there with Queers for Palestine. It's the intersectional alliances that are forming, because intersectionalism is a Marxist praxis, and so basically they have all these categories and subcategories of oppressed, and the oppressors are the pro-Western patriotic Canadians and Americans and so on and so forth. And really, they just seem to be forming these alliances for no other purpose than to destroy the West. And the rest of it is all just kind of a ruse, all this stuff about Palestine or whatever. I think they believe it. I think they believe that stuff, but they're brainwashed, right? So here's Dacey. He says a large number of Toronto police, with the help of a mounted unit, have finally cleared the Palestinian Antifa mob that surrounded a sushi shop earlier tonight to shut down a scheduled Liberal event. Where was this? I think this is courtesy of Derek Noonan, by the way. But where was this, Dacey?
Yeah, so this was in Toronto. I think it was Yorkville, I believe. So down in Toronto, there was a Liberal event. It was supposed to have the Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland at it. I believe it's this one, if it's the sushi shop. And I mean, they literally surrounded the place. A couple of liberals got in before it got surrounded, but police attempted to go through, get people in. I mean, they were confronted physically by this mob of people. Eventually, they brought in enough police. They had to bring the mounted unit. It was a wild scene. And this was the second event in a week or two that was shut down. Liberal event. There was another one with Prime Minister Trudeau when I believe it was the Italian Prime Minister that was here recently. They were at the Royal York and they had a dinner scheduled not far away at a museum or an event, and Trudeau didn't end up even leaving the hotel because that place also got surrounded, banging on glass, hitting on windows. Wild stuff. Not peaceful protest, I wouldn't say.
Definitely going well beyond any.
Oh, did I just lose audio?
There's that guy with the knapsack right there. Yeah, he's an Antifa little prick. Yeah.
Everyone stay together. It's better to stay together. Everyone stay together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite the scene.
So that was the clear out. I mean, prior to that, for I would say a good 2 hours before it got to that point, there was a small number, I'd say maybe 20 police officers that were basically pushed all the way back with their backs against the building where this event was to take place, and they were completely surrounded. So at most 20 officers wide, covering the small storefront of this building. And they sent in some. I imagine that the guys in yellow are probably public order. It's hard to say with Toronto. I don't really know them as well. But at one point, they sent in a group, tried to grab a guy. I mean, there was pushing, shoving between protesters and police. They had the mounted unit come through like abreast all the way down the street at one point to clear the street before they finally were able to get in and push these people back. It's and it was probably 2 hours. They, like I said, they tried to get someone in and they couldn't.
Yeah.
The police could not get a person into the building, and Chrystia Freeland never ended up coming.
I think this is a clip of what you're talking about right here.
It could be
25 seconds long. Yeah, let's check this.
Yeah, I know you're right, Bob. There's probably, I was telling everyone before, in terms of ethnic Palestinians, out of this maybe 120 people now, I would hazard to say there's not more than 10 that are actually ethnically Palestinian.
Yeah, so maybe that doesn't really show it. So that's a ways into it as well. By that point, though, like he says, that this group here, often these large protests, there are lots of people that it's hard to tell, right? I mean, who's ethnically what, but often it's a large number of people that I would say are Middle Eastern. But more and more we're seeing, particularly in these more extreme things, these Antifa types, or in this case, it was predominantly Antifa types.
Right. And it's predominantly white liberals, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And Linda was just asking, could I get that lady's handle on X again? I think that was C squared news.
Yeah, C, like the letter C, then squared written, like SQUARD news, C squared news.
Okay, right on. There you go, folks. Okay, I think maybe I got my my clips a little bit out of order here, but this was maybe the one you were talking about here. Okay, so we got the pushing the police, it says in the caption here.
In the police, nothing's happening. Now that was a cop. He's walking away. Like, what the hell is this? Yeah, I know. They're hitting the glass. Here comes the horses. If it calms down a little bit, I might do another live. Go off this and do another live. But Chris is on, so I can get Chris to put this on Twitter right away. Because they basically, Krima's videographer, he was sort of assaulted anyway. They pushed him away. I don't know where he is now. So I think me and Lynn are the only ones filming this. There's no regular news here. Oh, no. Well, the horses didn't work, so they're going to try cops on bikes now.
Good luck with that.
Here they come.
Yeah, really, eh? Yeah. We'll send in the auxiliary. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's Derek down in Toronto at the sushi shop. What is the reason they're gathering at a sushi shop?
Yeah, so it was for one of these liberal type crony type events. The deputy prime minister Chrystia Freeland was supposed to be speaking in cabinet. I don't know if it was one of those. Sometimes they have those $1,500 a plate affordability dinners they like to have. They spend millions and millions traveling around the country to talk about affordability and gaslight everyone. But I'm not sure if that was it. Was an event with liberals, high ranking liberals, including Chrystia Freeland. I don't think the PM was supposed to be at this one, but oh yeah, okay. So there's C squared. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, we were just showing a clip of you there, Christine. You're heckling Trudeau. It was one of Dacey's clips, but well done. Well done. We like to see that kind of heckling around here. He needs to hear it.
Yeah, and Christine's always down there when I'm not. If I'm not around, she's down there making sure she gets stuff covered, and you know, she's helped me a ton through this. So thank you to Christine.
And she's saying it's $750 dinner or a plate, I guess, at the dinner with.
No, it's half price for Trudeau, 1,600, whatever the heck, 1,800 or whatever. So she's half price. It's a deal.
That's a bargain. And yeah, we're in the middle of an affordability crisis, as RJ Sawyer is pointing out over on Rumble here. Nobody can afford food except for liberal donors. Okay, and here's something I wanted to throw up here. This is Mossab Hassan Youssef. He is the son of one of the Hamas founders who actually turncoated and started working for the IDF and ended up really like they say like he saved probably like a lot of lives. Just giving them lots of tips on suicide bombers and stuff like that. He lives in the United States now, and he's been pretty outspoken about this. He spoke at the UN not too long ago about the current crisis in Gaza there. And here he is tweeting this out. Hamas Health Ministry continue the game of misleading the mainstream media, human rights organizations, and the rest of the world. This is supposed to be a starving child who died of famine. I almost believed, but then I noticed the fat cats surrounding him. Yeah, so that is kind of what I'm saying here as well. I'm not sure what the deal is with this individual, or if it's even a real individual, but you can see that, like, wow, look at this heifer sitting back here. And here's a child over here who's not starving. They look like they have a bottle or a juice cup or something in their hands. And we got another child here who looks like they're being fed, and all of these fat women sitting around. So not sure what's going on with this whole famine thing, but that doesn't look like a real person to me. And none of these people appear to be starving that are out in this picture. And Cindy's here and say more propaganda is all it is. Yes, that's exactly what it is. And we've been seeing this. I mean, I've been reporting on it since the whole crisis started. That's what they'll do is, I mean, they'll not only will they do this kind of thing where they use props, but they'll use people as props. They'll use them as human shields, and they'll try to maximize civilian casualties. They'll snipe at their own people trying to flee Gaza for the south. Fire rockets at the safe corridor provided for the IDF. There was the whole I hope most people woke up when it was the bombing of the Al-Shifa hospital. First, they said that it was leveled, and the New York Times reprinted Hamas propaganda verbatim, and then it turned out it was just a failed rocket launch from the vicinity of Al-Shifa hospital that landed in the parking lot, and it was fired by the Hamas side. But they'll still try to turn everything to get people on board with this idea that there's a genocide taking place. And we even had the African National Congress out of South Africa file that claim of genocide at The Hague, but it didn't go anywhere because it's not a genocide. It's a lot of propaganda and shared interests, I think, between Hamas and the communist movement in the West. So and here is Dacey again, and he says the Ottawa police are preparing for a massive Palestinian protest taking place in Ottawa this afternoon. Groups are being bussed from Montreal and Toronto. Stay tuned for more. So this is early in the day, and the police are just setting up here. Is that what's going on, Dacey?
Yeah, so this is this is hours before the protest was scheduled to get going, and this is Ottawa Police Headquarters, and you will see there's public order units, paddy wagons, all kinds of stuff getting ready. So they were aware that this was going to happen. As you'll see later, though, I mean, there's so many people that I don't think the police even have enough resources total here in Ottawa to manage a crowd and a type of crowd that we'll see later.
Okay, right on. Let's get a look at this.
Holy. So this is Ottawa Police Public Order Units. Looks like they got a paddy wagon. They are preparing for a massive Palestinian protest scheduled this afternoon.
Yeah, if you're just listening, they're bumper to bumper.
Yeah. And so these public order vans are full. Each one is full with officers.
That is Ottawa Police Service getting ready. There is a Palestinian protest scheduled this afternoon at 2:00. From what I can understand, there will be bussing people in from Montreal and Toronto. So we have groups as large as 10,000 sometimes marching through Ottawa. There's a chance this one could be even bigger than that. Ottawa Police are preparing.
Wow. So
yeah, and I mean, we saw so that was like a solid block, like bumper to bumper of basically big vans filled with public order units, which is I guess the polite way of saying riot police. That was a small fraction of the resources they were mobilizing. So basically, Wellington early in the day was shut down completely in both directions, and then a few blocks also in every direction. So basically, from Elgin to Bank Street, past Bank Street, and then a number of blocks south of Parliament Hill were completely closed off, like red zone type of thing. No traffic was being allowed in. So it was quite a setup. I mean, large number of police and a huge number of bylaw as well started setting up, but they stayed pretty hands off and laid back though once these crowds started to gather.
And they like that's a significant portion of downtown, really. Like that looked like it was, you said down around Elgin there, so probably somewhere
Yeah.
near City Hall. We're talking like what, 3 blocks away from Parliament, and they're
Yeah, and I mean,
closing it
so
off
like
then?
4 or 5 blocks east to west, and at least 3 blocks north south. More very similar to the size of the that really tight red zone after the Freedom Convoy was cleared out. Very similar to that size. And as well, so by blocking all this off, you're blocking access east west. So from like one part of downtown to the more touristy part, there's a whole lot of things. They had actually the on ramps, so the main ramp and street, Nicholas Street, coming in from the Queensway, from the main highway through Ottawa. They had that closed down too in both directions. So if anyone, tourists, whoever, were trying to get into the downtown core, residents, they would have been unable to do so, at least not easily.
Okay. Yeah, sounds like a pretty huge section of downtown of the capital that's all closed off down there. And here we have some of the protesters arriving on scene, and this is Dacey's Twitter again, so go ahead and give him a follow. And they've got this van here. Looks like they're dragging a bunch of stuff out of it. What's going on with this one here, Dacey?
Yeah, so this is people. So this is a group that came in from Montreal. So it's a big red panel van with Quebec plates, and this pulled up on Wellington Street. So you're not allowed to stop anywhere on Wellington Street. Generally, if a car stops, they're very quickly on them. This car pulled up basically in front of the center block, more or less, not too far down past the King's Gate. Opened up, and they started taking out. I mean, plywood, skids, construction equipment, generators, sound equipment. And they started building basically a scaffolding on the side of the road, which was encumbering the sidewalk. Pretty quickly, Bylaw were there, and then at this point, Bylaw has already come and ticketed this vehicle twice. And Ottawa police have moved in and are talking to the people involved. I mean, they're checking the back to see what's in it for one, and then they're trying to, I guess, ID the driver and get his license and whatnot, trying to get this group to move out. It seemed like the police were very, cautious about how they approached this.
Right.
Took a lot of time to kind of, I don't know if we'd call it negotiating, but that's how I would describe it, negotiating with the different people here. Same with the people that set up the structures that we'll see later.
Okay, right on. Yeah, I think they're getting the kid gloves, right? Because they're one of the protected classes. If they're out here doing an anti-Western demonstration, then it's free reign, essentially. But here we go.
We are on Wellington Street.
You can kind of make out a makeshift structure coming together there on the sidewalk.
Yeah, they're bringing large sheets of plywood out, 4x8s.
Bylaw on scene.
Each one of those garbage bags is a massive speaker.
Okay. And they have like some kind of, they're almost like booths that they're constructing there. They're made of pallets.
Like they're taking VIN numbers.
I'm not arguing with you. You speak to this gentleman. You step back. I will speak to him. You got to explain. You have to explain to us what they're. You're driving a vehicle on the highway. It doesn't matter. That's a bylaw ticket for a parking infraction. So why do you need a driver's license? It's a parking thing. Why do you need a driver's license? They gotta give you your details. Huh? It doesn't give me your details. Why do you need that? Can I see your driving number? You don't need to show your details. There's no need to show. Why do you need a parking ticket? Democracy.
Wow. So I think what ended up coming of that anyway was the.
Yeah. So so you can see there was a couple of tickets that had already been left there. Those were bylaw infractions, so they're left for the plate of the vehicle or whatever. At this point, though, Ottawa Police, that British sounding sergeant there, had come in, and he wasn't the first officer. He came in a bit later, and they're trying to get this gentleman who had identified himself as the driver of the van. They wanted his ID and his license and whatnot. I guess to run checks on the vehicle, but also I believe that's also a separate. The police can charge you with something else that's not by law, right? So if he's encumbering the highway or whatever the case may be. So they wanted to identify that guy, and eventually he did give them his driver's license. And it was probably an hour later. Eventually, this guy cleared out without incident. Really, didn't progress to worse than that.
Okay. So not quite as dramatic as when you have a couple of signs sitting on the sidewalk there and some Wellington Street regulars, eh?
Yeah. It all depends what your sign says, man.
Yeah, exactly. That is the tyranny that we're living through right now. All depends on what your sign says. Okay. So here we have some drummers out here with their Palestinian flags. And I think these are some of the people you were talking about that were bussed in. So let's get a look at this one.
So that was the group from Quebec that came in. So a group came from Montreal and Toronto. It's interesting. There was kind of like it almost seemed like the factions, like everybody had their own idea of what they wanted to do, and that caused some issues and delays at times. But this is the group that came in from Montreal. They're setting up. You can see some Ottawa police vehicles and a couple of vehicles still going through. So at this point, Ottawa police are in the process of trying to shut everything down and clear all the traffic out of the whole area. Very shortly after this, everything was closed in basically in every direction. Just police vehicles allowed in that area.
And they have flags and they have drums and they're setting up booths. It looks like so.
You could definitely see the structures kind of coming together there, right? So what they initially set up was 2 levels, like one wide, like of scaffolding, but 2 levels high on big wheels. And then what they had started doing is attaching their giant speakers, 6 down the side type of thing, and way at the top of the scaffolding on the outside of the scaffolding. It looked like a very dangerous setup to me. The center of gravity on that thing would have been ridiculously high. And I'm almost sure if they tried to do what they were planning to do with that originally, it would have toppled. Eventually, they ended up taking one story off their scaffolding and still had their speakers. Their speaker system was loud enough that you could hear it clearly from blocks away. Couldn't tell where the sound was even coming from because it was bouncing off all the buildings, but it was loud.
Wow. And weren't you guys having some issues with noise amplification devices down?
Oh, yes, of course. There Noise amplification devices are completely forbidden in Ottawa, or they're supposed to be anywhere in public, basically.
No kidding. And I thought we'd take a look back, actually, because here's one from January 27th, so not that long ago. And here is Dacey, and he's tweeting out, quote, "You have to start moving the signs right now. If not, we're going to start impounding them." Okay, let's get a look at this one. So here's a few of the regular, I guess this is some of the Wellington Street regulars, Dacey?
Yes. And I don't know if this was maybe before leading up to the anniversary, but this is fairly recent. And man, you can just see the difference in approach, right?
Yeah.
You'll be able to.
27 January. So, and here, I am Billy Dalton, got tasered by Ottawa police on October 4th, 2023. Yeah, I remember showing that here. It was really, I don't know, pretty gross, pretty aggressive. But here's what it's like if you're not on the left.
I said it's going to be my boots and my sweaters, my shit.
Let me explain myself, okay? Signs can't be on the highway, okay? You have to be removed right now, or else we'll get
Morris.
That's all I'm on Morris. But I'm saying right now, you have to remove the signs right now. If not, we're going to start impounding them.
Impounding the signs. You're interrupting my protest. You're interrupting my protest.
I'm just asking you, just remove the signs, and now we're going to start seeing all these people.
You're not going to take my sign. You stole my sign. A lot of people here got signs. Okay? Stole my sign. I got 4 or 5 signs, but that's it. You guys stole my signs. For 2 years, you stole my sign. Am I harassing? Who's making the complaint? I want to know who's the culprit. We're doing this every day. You should be here all the time. A little bit. The people doesn't vote. You take yours. How about writing everybody? We're not trying to issue tickets right away. We're trying to get stuff to you. The problem here is these signs. These signs have attracted Khalil here, who steals property from Canadian citizens peacefully protesting. What a bunch of nonsense.
Nonsense is right. And Khalil is one of those kind of regular harassers too, isn't he?
Oh yeah. We all, like, I mean, how many times do you know the bylaw guy by name? Like, we all know him. He's been a thorn in our side for a while. And I mean, just his attitude, he's always like a little kind of a short guy, and he's got his chest all puffed out, and always, I mean, he came in later and started just grabbing those signs, just stealing them from people.
Yeah, small man syndrome. He's got to kind of push people around to feel like an adequate man. And here is Anne that says, that's okay, but the cross gets a ticket. Yeah, there was that incident, actually. So here's Dacey. This is another one from a while ago. He says, no signs or crosses. Let me just make sure I got the right date on this for you guys. This is from December 9th. So again, not that long ago, but here's what it's like with the Wellington Street regulars and freedom-oriented people.
Hey, Dacey here, live on Parliament Hill. We're having a few issues with signs and also this cross here. We have bylaw has come in. This beautiful Canada's cross. So bylaws come in. Howard had his signs out here. All along here, bylaw came in, threatened to fine Howard, told him no signs allowed on here. And then they also told beautiful Canada that his cross is encumbering the highway. Excuse me, sir. So are you the owner of the cross?
I am the owner of it.
And your cross was encumbering the highway, I hear?
Apparently today it was encumbering.
Yeah. So that's the same.
It was encumbering
the highway
right before, there.
So that's the same cross that got the warning a while back. Yeah, interesting.
And the bylaw lady told me, she said it's fine as long as you're in the area. I don't care. I'm not that officer. I don't care.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens with the cross. I think the cross will stay. We know for sure that Howard's going to stay. We'll see what happens. Hey, Dacey.
Unreal.
Yeah, that cross has a history with bylaw. Like, there was one day that the bylaw left a warning to the owner of the cross. I'm not sure who they were talking. Jesus, I don't know who they were addressing, but they left it. Yeah, there you go. They left a ticket on it one day too. So this cross has a history with Ottawa law enforcement.
It literally says to owner of cross. Encumber a highway. Yeah.
And encumbering a highway is a stretch here, man. It's a 4x4. It's sideways. It's not lengthways across the sidewalk blocking it. It's just off to the side, just sitting there peacefully, like crosses do.
Yeah, like they do.
Man.
Yeah. It is a war on Christianity too. All things Western, really, and Christianity is.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah. It's
foundational. I mean,
yeah.
Even if people don't, for non-Christians, I mean, Christianity and the morals and all that come along with it are foundational to our society.
Yeah. I think there are like Western values are Roman values are sort of ultimately the foundation, but Christianity is definitely like a foundation of our culture. And that was the old Frankfurt School motto, right? Aufheben der Culture. That's how that's part of the Marxist takeover is you destroy their culture and basically install new ideology, narratives, that kind of thing, and just let the society destroy itself. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. And here we have, let me see now, just a second. The scarf salesman is going to make a killing today. So are these guys encumbering the highway?
Yeah, I mean, they have a table. Tables are not normally allowed. Neither is selling things, particularly without a permit, but selling things, period. Normally, a table will attract a massive bylaw and police response. We've gotten in all kinds of table incidents to the point where we had to put like small surfaces on wagons and continuously move them, because if we stopped for more than 30 seconds, they'd rush in on us. Like wild stuff. But this guy with the scarf salesman here is able to set up right outside the King's Gate and not only have a table, but sell things as well. There is more than one person selling there, and people going around collecting money as well.
Yeah, crazy. All right.
Thank you. Yes, speakers.
Somebody's making a killing selling scarves here today. I wonder if they have a permit.
Yeah, great question. I'm thinking they don't really need one. And Patricia was just saying, I thought Canada had freedom of religion. Yeah, only on paper, I guess. So that seems to be the case with a lot of our freedoms.
Yeah, and it's getting worse with some of the new laws that are being proposed. I mean, it could make quoting scripture a criminal offense, even in a lot of cases. So the attack on certain religions continues, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, Bill C-63. That's the most tyrannical law I think we've seen today. It's got the pre-thought crime written into it, so it's not just the thought crime of the wrong think of 1984, but it's also the pre-crime of Minority Report, and we have pre-thought crime in Canada on the way. So it's just incredible stuff. And here's Dacey again. He says, Wellington Street has been closed in both directions, and Ottawa Police Chief Eric Stubbs has made an appearance as Palestinian protesters gather on Parliament here. What's the Chief of Police doing out here?
Yeah, well, quite interesting. He came out early to keep an eye on things. He did talk to a few people. He was in the area where that initial video was of the groups from Montreal setting up. So he did make an appearance, and I mean a visible appearance. Interestingly, he drives his own vehicle. For what that's worth, came down in his own vehicle with two people in the vehicle, but the chief and probably an inspector or something. I'm not sure, superintendent, but. There was,
his own vehicle is in like his personal vehicle?
No, a police vehicle, but he was driving himself.
Oh, okay, right on.
I just thought that was a dope.
Right. Interesting. He doesn't have a driver.
Ottawa Police Chief Stubbs is in this vehicle here, keeping an eye on things. The chief of the Ottawa Police is behind me here now. Ottawa Police Chief Eric Stubbs is on scene. Large Palestinian protest taking place on Wellington and Parliament Hill. Screaming, shut it down. Wellington Street is shut down for now. Chief of Ottawa Police is on the scene. Is leaving the scene. There goes Ottawa Police Chief Eric Stubbs.
Christine is just letting us know that the RCMP officer Brown was with the chief as well. So,
okay,
yeah, that's interesting.
So multiple jurisdictions. Yeah, I believe Christine actually had a conversation with the chief, which was quite interesting. But I've never seen the chief in the wild before, really, for anything. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah, and I guess it's quite the special occasion because Spider-Man made an appearance as well. Let's get a look at this. This is an incredible crowd that we have here, and all kinds of stuff going on. Serena was just saying, Chris, your videos are so informative. Thank you. Yeah, we're very appreciative of Chris because you're definitely not going to see this on the mainstream news, are you?
Everyone, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
So, and we don't really have an accurate estimate, I don't think, of what the crowd size actually was, do we?
No, I haven't seen one from police, but I mean, the largest one I've seen so far, Ottawa police that I talked to were estimating between 10 and 12,000 for that one, and this one was bigger, significantly bigger. And like you can see part of that crowd there. That street that we're looking at, Wellington Street, is 3 lanes wide at least. They're laying down the middle, basic 2 big lanes and some bicycle lanes on the side, and those sidewalks are like 15, 20 feet wide each. And there are people packed side to side and deep all the way back down Wellington, all the way back to the Prime Minister's office, basically. It took them forever to get muster and off the hill and moving. And like, it was a massive group of people, bigger than anything I've really ever seen, and more condensed too.
Pharaoh Schiss Lyons was just saying, wow, what's going on? I don't follow any of the news. Well, there was just a massive pro-Hamas demonstration there over the weekend in Ottawa. So we're just going through the clips now and trying to sort through it and see what's going on here. Good compare and contrast to do with the Freedom Convoy, actually. Just how, one side of the political aisle is allowed to demonstrate and the other side is not. And Susan is here, says, I'm so late. I just got to Montreal. No masking here. Well, that's good, but you owe me some push-ups. So drop and give me 10.
So Susan is the one we have recently had the mask incident.
Oh, okay. What you want to fill us in on that, Dacey?
Yeah, so Susan that just commented there, she went to, I think it was Winchester Hospital. It will be in the description of the video we watched later. But she was going in for a medical procedure, and they demanded she wear a mask. All masking mandates and policies have been dropped, actually, for quite some time now in most settings. And then the man at this hospital, he basically told her no. They confronted her with like about 18 people, called the OPP on her, threatened to have her charged. She stood up for herself and really did a great job and ended up getting her procedure. But this crazy stuff that was happening. People think that this stuff's all over. This mask nonsense and the absolute stomping on people's rights is still going on.
Oh, people are getting off on it. People in the cult, they like being in the dominant cult. We're going to show that video, actually, Susan. So stick around for that. We got that all lined up for later in the show. I didn't realize that was you. Holy smokes. That was quite the video, actually, quite the affair they had going on there. But here is Spider-Man again, and this is Corinna Sad, and she's saying Spider-Man sits atop Bank of Canada Museum with a green smoke device. Below, thousands of protesters participate in the national march on Ottawa for Gaza. So I don't think we saw any of this at the Freedom Convoy, but here we go. And it's a green smoke bomb that he's got going off there. Some kind of a pyrotechnic. I don't know. The only time I ever really see them is at this demonstration. And I think the green is a staple because Hamas dresses up in green. They wear the green scarf and stuff like that when they go out. So,
and they also have the red ones they were setting off. I mean, that's 2 of the colors on the flag there. So the colors are consistent, I guess, with that.
Yeah. And speaking of color schemes, here's the black color scheme, black bloc. And Dacey said 4 Antifa and Black Bloc are keeping an eye on the only Canadian flag at the Palestinian protest on Parliament Hill. Stunning and brave. Yeah, no kidding. It's a mob, and here they are trying to intimidate this guy in the plaid shirt waving a Canadian flag. So here we go.
2024, we're doing a lot of work. I'm not sure how we're going to get through the year. But we will have 3 inquiries. The first one will be in Regina.
Are those your friends? Or?
And June 1st.
How are you guys?
There'll be two more, which will be towards the fall. One will be on the west.
How you guys
coast,
doing?
And the other
You doing
one
good?
will be in Ottawa. So that'll be sometime in the fall. We've decided,
Lots of space here. You're standing behind the guy and saying you can't get around. Like, look, like there's tons of room here.
What's funny too is like when I find
They all wear masks. It's so weird.
is that they think that they're brave, but yet they hide behind.
I know.
Those are
It's like, we're here for something else. Guys. Look at the people speaking. I had no money.
Coming up looking for money.
So initially the inquiries will cover that.
Black Bloc has arrived.
Anti-fascists that believe in fascism.
Yeah.
Irony.
I think I recognize you from last week, eh? Even with all that glasses and everything on. Pretty sure. So we've got 4 Antifa members covered head to toe in black bloc. Not sure what they're up to. Very brave people.
Yeah, exactly. Hiding behind their masks. And Rob was just saying the only thing that triggers them more is the red ensign or old Splashy.
The red ensign gets people going.
Oh yeah. That was actually, I think, on anti-hate's list of hate symbols at one point there. The red ensign, which was
hammer and sickle, no problem. Red ensign, watch out.
Yeah, the red that our soldiers went to war under in the First and Second World War. They went in there carrying the red ensign, and now it's a hate symbol according to anti-hate. It's just unbelievable.
Two of the people there in the Black Bloc were getting in my face a week prior. So I mean, even with all that nonsense outfit on, I still recognize two. I think 2 of them were women, 2 of them were men, if you can call them that. But they're sucking so hard on their face mask, like they're so worked up, just standing there behind the guy. They moved in behind that guy and were standing there for like a couple of minutes. He didn't even notice. He's just standing there nicely with his flag right outside the gates. At one point, he turns to me. He's like, "I'm here for something else." Like get out of here, Yeah. But I did recognize 2 of them. They got pretty in my face a week ago, and a few of them kind of were following me around and surrounding me and trying to impede my progress everywhere I went. They would block me till the police eventually intervened. I mean, I finally just about logged away. If you guys don't do something, like, come on, you're gonna have to push through these folks. Otherwise, like, it can only take so much.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's the point, is they just want to keep pushing and pushing and pushing people. And then, they'll cry victim when somebody
of course.
pushes back. Yeah.
Well, and that's what they say about me, right? Like when I point out their nonsense, they say that I'm playing victim and I'm being a big baby. Like, you guys are out here getting in our faces, causing problems. All I'm doing is shining a light on your craziness. They hate that. They hate the light.
And Christine Cameron is here again saying, we got info on one Antifa, name and work location. They work for the government. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're funded by the unions. That was kind of what we saw during the 1 Million March for Children, is all the unions were posting all this stuff on their websites and saying, go out and protest. And one of the guys who got arrested at the education over indoctrination protests with Josh Alexander and Billboard Chris there just outside of Toronto. He turned out to be a member of the electricians union. And we saw Fred Hahn, who is the president of Ontario QP, largest union in the country. So I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if there were all kinds of public servants dressing up in the Black Bloc there. They're very pro-state.
PSAC is another big one we see around a lot. They often come in with their flags. So
Yeah, absolutely. And here's another one from Karim Assad. And we see the umbrellas a lot too. Now, it is actually raining on this day, but Antifa like to use their umbrellas as weapons and as a means of concealing their identity as well. So
yeah. Stunning and brave. I mean, so they've surrounded a woman, and they're very, very, very intimidating types there. But I mean, it is like, I mean, when you get, whether or not you know who these people are is maybe makes a bit of a difference. But like, if you're just standing on a corner or whatever, doing your thing, and you get surrounded by a group of like 7 or 8 of these people, it's not a real nice position to be in.
Well, and they're concealing their identities too. So,
Yes.
that's
And I mean, they're definitely trying to intimidate. They're stopping people's ability to freely walk, and they're impeding people from moving freely about whatever in public. And they're wearing those disguises to do that, right? So, I mean, any crime that they commit, tack on wearing a disguise while committing a crime, right? I think a crime has to occur before that's applicable, but we know why they're wearing those masks.
Yeah, well, because they're up to no good.
Exactly. And clearly, like, they're wearing, I mean, they're all dressed the same, man. They got the, somebody wrote on, I think I saw it on Twitter, they all got the Giant Tiger special there on the sunglasses, and
yeah,
their jackets basically are identical. It's interesting. And in this case, the umbrellas were maybe necessary, but normally they carry umbrellas to block you and to poke you and stab you with. If they if things get, when no one's watching, they'll break the umbrella, man. They'll take the butt end of the broken metal end and stab people with it. And they get pretty nasty with those umbrellas.
Oh yeah, 1000%. And here we got Gad Sad, and he's retweeting Dacey. So this was pretty great, I thought. And
Elon Musk chimed in on that as well after, actually, now that you mentioned that. So I don't know if it's there. I did share it, but so Elon Musk commented after God Sad shared it. So I mean, this is getting around. I think that's pushing 900,000 views or something, impressions on Twitter at this point. So this one's gone pretty viral.
That's Elon right there saying 100%.
Yeah, there you go.
And,
yeah.
And Gad is saying demography is destiny. And I agree. I mean, it's a demographic crisis that we're into here. And Dacey is saying Palestinian demonstrators have taken over Wellington Street and are setting off smoke grenades. They have a massive sound system built on scaffolding in the middle of the road. And they're calling out Justin Trudeau, saying that he is complicit in genocide. Well, it's not a genocide. It's a war. But
he may be complicit in some other stuff too. I mean, I'm not commenting on the truth of that necessarily, just what they're doing. Everyone's calling him out for genocide.
Well, if he's complicit in a genocide, it's probably taking place here in Canada.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. And that was a pretty common comment in the comment threads. He's definitely complicit in a genocide, but it's against our people.
Yeah, 1000%. Just look at the all-cause mortality.
Canadians.
They just keep going up and up, and life expectancy is going down. And we're only, not even 3 years, only 2.5 years after the mandates came in, 2021 election and all that. So, wait for it, guys. I think it's gonna get worse. So here is Dacey, and he's just showing some more footage here of what's going on from the ground in Ottawa. Massive crowds going from building to building all the way across the street.
Hey, Dacey here. The group of Palestinian protesters has taken Wellington Street, setting off smoke bombs. They've got sound systems and scaffolding in the street here.
Okay, we got another one because we're in Ottawa, where Justin Trudeau lives, right? So I want everybody to repeat after me. Justin Trudeau, you're complicit in the genocide of Palestinians. Justin Trudeau, you're complicit in the genocide of Palestinians. Justin Trudeau, you're complicit in the genocide of Palestinians. Justin Trudeau, you're complicit in the genocide of Palestinians. Justin Trudeau, you're complicit in the genocide of Palestinians. Justin Trudeau, you're complicit in the genocide of Palestinians.
I don't know what they expect him to do. about the whole situation over there.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm not really sure at all. And I don't think that, it's not really about getting any action or improving things there at all. It's actually hurting their cause. If people want to help and do whatever with the situation there, stuff like this does nothing to bring in support. That's for sure. It's turning a lot of people off, honestly.
And he's already called for a humanitarian pause. And I think I saw something there the other day where he was calling for like an immediate ceasefire. No
one's calling for a return of hostages out of any of these people.
Exactly. Exactly.
We could start there, and then maybe there could be some discussion, but that would be at the very least.
Yeah, if you're calling for a ceasefire now, you're basically saying we should let them get away with it, let them get away with a massacre and the hostage taking and all that stuff. So, it's not hard to tell where he's coming from on that one.
Yeah, that was an absolutely wild scene there. Like that went on, and with various different chants. You get from the river to the sea chants, calls for intifada, for revolution. Talking about occupation, about shutting, if we don't get what we want, we're going to shut it down, as they clearly establish and show that they're perfectly capable of shutting down whatever they want. I take that to be intimidation or a threat, honestly, and they've proven again and again that they're capable of shutting whatever they want down in Ottawa.
Yeah. 1,000%. And I remember this all started, people were pouring into the streets on October 8th. Shouting intifada, there's the ceasefire October 6th, a massacre and a hostage taking October 7th. And by October 8th, cities all over the West were, just filled with demonstrators chanting intifada, intifada. So it seems to me like they're the ones calling for the genocide, and all this stuff about, the genocidal West is just projection as usual. And here's Mossab Hassan Youssef again, and he's the son of Hamas founder. Like I said, he spoke at the UN not too long ago. He says, meet Abdullah al-Barghouti, the bomb maker on Hamas's top list of hostage exchange. Abdullah is from the Ramallah district. I was the first person to identify and locate him within hours of the Sparrow suicide bombing attack in 2001. The attack claimed the lives of 14 Israelis, one pregnant American, one Brazilian. All of them were civilians. Abdullah's explosive lab was located in the village of Betunia, to the southwest of Ramallah. The CIA, as part of the security coordination with the Palestinian Authority, gave the latter a tip on the bomb maker's location, and the Palestinian Authority was able to arrest him before we did. Later, as expected, the Palestinian Authority helped him escape. The Hamas bomb maker planned and executed deadly attacks that killed at least 66 civilians before we were able to capture him in 2003. His escape led to the following suicide bombing attacks: the double suicide bombing at Ben Yehuda pedestrian mall, Cafe Moment bombing, Rishon LeZion bombing. Do you understand why we can't agree to Hamas demands? Hamas wants thousands of murderers to be released back into the streets in exchange for innocent civilians. That doesn't really seem like a very good trade now, does it? They want their suicide bombers back so they can kill more people. So, it's crazy that people are out there cheering for this stuff in the streets of Canadian cities right now. Sorry
to interrupt, Jeff. I'm just gonna. I have so many coffees this morning. I'm gonna run to the bathroom. You can carry for a second, and then I'll be back.
No worries. I got a couple of clips lined up here. We're all good. Okay, folks, we're gonna power through here with while Chris takes a quick break, and we got Krim Assad again. And she says, on International Women's Day, protesters dressed up in Hamas militants and hostages in Nathan Phillips Square. Salman Sima took the opportunity to lambaste Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's feminist foreign policy. And this is from March 8th. So this is not over the weekend. March 8th would have been the Friday and International Women's Day. So this guy is really good too. I don't think she haven't tagged in here, but Salman Sima, follow him on Twitter. He is quite good, especially when it comes to speaking out against the IRGC and a lot of these Islamist organizations. But here we go.
Justin Trudeau failed Afghanistan women. When it comes to Iranian women, Justin Trudeau just delivered lip service. Now is a turn for women in Israel. and shamelessly they call it feminist foreign policy. And they are talking about resuming fund for UNRWA and even some additional fund. Justin Trudeau, do you have some shame? Look at these innocent pictures.
He was talking about the funding of UNRWA as well, and UNRWA was recently revealed to have had employees who didn't just provide like aid and comfort to Hamas, but who participated in the October 7th massacre. So yeah, there's that. I don't know what else they expect Justin Trudeau to do, really. He's already called for a ceasefire, and he's resuming funding to UNRWA. So there's that, but I'll let this guy finish here.
This is National Post. Look at those innocent women, those pictures. Never again is now. When we say never again, we should mean it. Unfortunately, Canadian government on all levels failed to protect our Jewish brothers and sisters in Canada and in Israel.
Yeah, that's about the size of it. And you can see these women are all standing in the back here. They're dressed up for the occasion. They have pictures of some of the murder and rape victims hung around their necks, and they have their pants made up to look like they're bloodied, because that was something we saw during the massacre as well, was women being, detained with the bloody pants, showing some pretty obvious signs of being brutally raped. Yeah, well done on Salman here. He's a real powerful voice in all of this. And here is neveragainpodcast@gmail.com, and they say Charlotte Cates of the PFLP Simudin celebrates the October 7th slaughter of Israelis at Simudin rally in Ottawa today. So this was also well, it says today, but I think this is a good compare and contrast for the International Women's Day theme. You have kind of the regular people, and then you have the left. So here we go.
But what we saw on the 7th of October and what we continue to see every day since is the amazing bravery, resilience, and resistance of the Palestinian people to take every step necessary to liberate every Palestinian prisoner from the jails of the Zionist regime. And as we stand here today against Canadian complicity with Zionism, that means that we are standing against Canadian complicity with the imprisonment of Palestinians, and that we have a responsibility to call for the liberation of every Palestinian prisoner, to break open the doors of the Zionist jails, just like the resistance is doing to empty the jails of the prisoners, of the 200 Abbas saying these are leaders of the Palestinian cause, and they will never be imprisoned. Their ideas will never be imprisoned, and the future of Palestine will never be imprisoned by the Zionist regime. And so today, it is the Palestinian resistance, the armed resistance at the front and center, who are making it possible to liberate these prisoners. But it is also clear today that the Palestinians...
Yeah, so there they are cheering for it. I made a comment on this. I'll just go ahead and read it. It says, so all that left-wing vitriol around quote-unquote rape culture in the West was really wasn't really in opposition to rape. It was in opposition to the West. That's what I see happening. I don't know if you guys have been following this issue as long as I have, but that was one of the tropes that the left was throwing around there. One of the smears they hurl at the West was that we live in a rape culture. And I've even heard that said at town halls in the military during Operation Honor, which was, the gaslighting operation put on by General Jonathan Vance. And he went around wagging his finger at the rest of us for exactly the kind of sexual misconduct that he had engaged in his entire career, even fathered 2 children with one of his mistresses using his own staff officers for Kleenex, and they went around saying that we had a rape culture. But as it turns out, they're not exactly anti-rape; they're just anti-Western. And here is Visegrad 24, and they say breaking: more than 200 Nigerian women and children have been kidnapped by the Islamists of Boko Haram. They were kidnapped while collecting firewood by the We don't hear a lot of outrage over that, but they're still going after Palestinian detainees, the prisoners, the suicide bombers that they want released. But you don't really hear anything about these 200 Nigerian women and children who were just kidnapped by an Islamist group in Nigeria. Oh, and
crickets.
What's that?
Crickets, eh?
Yeah.
Very convenient.
Yeah, of course. Oh, and also standard. This one is Oren Barsky. If you live in a country where a sign stating, quote, Hamas are terrorists, close quote, causes such an uproar, then you risk your life just by acknowledging it. Then something is very wrong with that country, and its citizens should wake up to the reality of our lives. Yeah. So I just threw another one of these clips in here.
Yeah, I was hoping you would have this. This is good.
Okay. Yeah, right on. This guy is showing up at one of these rallies, and he's just got a sign that says, don't attack the law. Hamas is terrorist. And just watch what happens here. He gets assaulted.
Where's the police? Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
And the police are pushing him away for holding the sign.
Free, free! Free, free! Come on, let's go back. Come on, let's go.
And now he's getting arrested.
Ten of them on him.
Yeah, that's about the end of that. But that's
so I mean, to recap, right? This guy is holding a sign stating the truth that Hamas are terrorists. That's what his sign says. He gets attacked, physically assaulted. Then a large group of police come in and drag him out of there, take him down in the street, and like 10 of them are on top of him, arresting him.
Yeah.
It's wild. I'm not sure if you saw either. I guess that's the Metropolitan Police. That's in the UK.
Yeah.
And I think it's the Metropolitan Police. They put out a statement about this guy later, and it got nailed with the community notes, correcting what really happened, basically saying what we just said. But the Metropolitan Police tried to spin it like he had done something, and he was involved in some sort of altercation, and it was his fault. Luckily, the community notes on X got that kind of corrected, but even the police were coming out trying to spin it and justify what they did there.
It's just crazy. Two-tier justice. And he's getting arrested for being assaulted, which seems to be another thing that's gotten standard as of late. If you get assaulted by somebody on the left like Antifa or one of these Hamassholes, then you'll be arrested. Just insane. And here is Lisa McLeod. And she was an MPP who lives in Ottawa here. And she was tweeting out, As an Ottawa resident, I am disturbed and horrified of the hypocrisy between the convoy clampdown compared to the tolerated hate speech and the anti-Semitic demonstrations. As an area politician, one of the longest serving in the capital, the double standard is dangerous, irresponsible, and wrong. Someone is going to get killed, and the passivity will be noticed in plain sight, and it won't be forgotten. Yeah, so she's retweeting Peter Nelson here, where he's talking about those of us in the Jewish diaspora know that, quote, the convoy was bad, but calling for the death of Jews is okay, close quote. Yeah, that's about the size of it.
Interesting. I did speak to a few people, or was texting with some people in the Jewish community here. And they were basically told to stay in their houses, like don't go near the synagogues, don't go near any just basically hide. They were terrified. They were not okay even leaving their houses. And we have seen in the past Jewish businesses have been kind of the target of intimidation from these crowds as well. The embassy or the consulate, whatever you call it here. So I mean, talking to some of the Jewish community in Ottawa, they were having to put out a lot of warnings, and people were honestly terrified. They were afraid to come out, and I think they have reason to be scared.
Oh yeah, they want them dead. So
yeah,
that's reason enough. And here we have this is OG Horse's Kisses on Twitter, and she's quite good. And says Pramila Patton, UN representative for sexual crimes, briefing on the report of sexual violence by Hamas on October 7th. Her team visited Israel and verified the most heinous acts of sexual violence perpetrated by Hamas, PIJ, armed Gazan civilians, and other terrorists. They verified incidents of rapes, gang rapes, and rapes of corpses. From the evidence, they believe sexual violence is ongoing in Gaza toward hostages. Rape is not resistance. Gang rape is not resistance. Rape of dead bodies is not resistance. I tend to agree, but that's the marketing, the spin that they put on it.
Another finding, we also found that there are reasonable grounds to believe that conflict-related sexual violence, including rape and gang rape, occurred during the 7th of October attacks in at least 3 locations, namely the Nova Music Festival site and its surroundings, Road 232 and Kibbutz Reim. And in most of these incidents, victims were first subjected to rape and then killed. And at least 2 incidents relate to the rape of women's corpses. And as you know, the Nova Music Festival we found was a site of grave violations, including brutal mass murders, with several hundreds of bodies recovered from the site, in addition to many abductions. Bodies were also found with extensive burn damage. Then a third set of findings is that across multiple locations, we found a recurring pattern of victims found fully or partially undressed, bound and shot. And we found that although circumstantial, such a pattern may be indicative of some forms of sexual violence, including sexualized torture, cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment.
Yep, and they're out in the streets cheering for it. So we even have the UN coming out and saying, yeah, this really happened, guys. And just, for anybody who's not aware, the UN has already passed like 110 resolutions condemning Israel and 0 condemning, say, Iran or Saudi Arabia. And that's largely because of the Organization of Islamic Countries. It's about 80 countries to vote as a bloc. So the world's dictators sent an envoy in to investigate this, and they're even coming back and saying that this was pretty atrocious. So here is Andy Lee, and she's answering the question. Brad Zubik is saying, any theory on who funds this shit? And Andy Lee is saying, to answer your question in screenshots, here is Toronto for Palestine, and they're tweeting out this graphic of National March on Ottawa for Gaza, and this is Saturday, March 9th, so just this, everything we've been watching here. And collaborators include Toronto for Palestine, Hidden Palestine, Montreal for Palestine, Hamilton for Palestine, Ottawa for Palestine, and Here we have the Toronto for Palestine grassroots movement amplifying oppressed voices through strategic action. So they have, a couple of things up about what's going on March 9th. And here we have provide monetary gifts and contributions to support the National March in Ottawa. If you wish to contribute to the success of the National March happening in Ottawa on March 9th, by providing financial support, you can anonymously e-transfer whichever desired amount to Turtle Island for Palestine at gmail.com. Before sending any monetary gift, please make sure the use of the following question, answer, blah, blah, blah. And then we have the Scarborough National March on Ottawa on March 9th, 2024 at 1 p.m. So they're, and here is Samaduan, which I think we've seen this as kind of a theme. This name keeps coming up. Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network, October 7th, Gaza and the liberation of Palestine, political prisoners teach-in for Palestine. So more, celebratory stuff around the October 7th massacre. And here is Samaduan chapters, affiliates, and links around the world. And they have the Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network, Occupied Palestine, Gothenburg, Sweden, a few of them from Sweden here, España, France, in Paris, it looks like Region Parisian, and the Netherlands, Greece, Deutschland. So these are basically international NGOs that are financing all of this. And we have more chapters: Greece, Deutschland, Hungary, Toronto, Vancouver, New York, New Jersey, Albuquerque, Brazil, Iran, France again. There's Ottawa. Yay. Isn't that great? And here is Samaduan welcomes new affiliates, ACTA and Anti-Imperialist Alliance. I'm sure. And big surprise. Anti-Imperialist Alliance. We're a group of people united in opposition to Canadian imperialism. Join the mass struggle. And this is very emblematic of the hammer and sickle, this symbol right here, where they've got the 5-point star and looks like a portion of a gear. So, and here is more from the Imperialist Alliance, and they have their collaborators. And again, they're in opposition and resistance to Canadian and U.S. imperialism in the Turtle Islands and internationally. Here we have the Encyclopedia of Anti-Revisionism Online. Communist Party of Canada, Marxist-Leninists, Anti-Imperialist Alliance courageously counters fascist attacks. So the commies are aligning with the Islamists in their effort to destroy the West, which is a theme that we've seen here multiple times when we're reporting on this stuff. Here's the Anti-Imperialist Alliance again. It all goes back to this Marxist network of Canada. Apparently, here's the Muslim Indigenous Connection, engaging Muslim youth in truth and reconciliation. So
that's some interesting intersectionality. Like you have the Turtle Island email address there, Turtle Island for Palestine or whatever it was. I mean, that's kind of a strange sounding email. Send your money though. We need your money.
Yeah. And it just it speaks to that point that I was making earlier too. Intersectionalism is a Marxist praxis, and that's what they're doing. Is they're using this intersectional lens to build these alliances, turn them anti-Western, and destroy our countries, basically. And here's Andy Lee. She says, the answer, in short, is that we have been funding it indirectly with tax dollars using a web of not-for-profit networks which are almost impossible to track, audit, or trace. We are funding anti-imperialist Marxist groups that hate our capitalist system and our country. Yep, that's what's going on.
That's 100%. There was also a video put out by, I think it was Montreal for Palestine ahead of this, and like it was intense, man. It was a call to action to bring people in. They had a list of demands that they were demanding from the government or else. And you know how much talk there was about a few different things going around the time of the Freedom Convoy. They're like, everyone accused everyone involved of coming with this crazy list of demands and all these things. I mean, these groups literally did that. They had the list of demands, like basically, it was a propaganda video, but like inciting or encouraging people to come to Ottawa to join this event that they had, and that they were going to have their demands. And if they didn't get them, they were going to shut things down. or else, basically.
Yeah. And Rob was just saying it's the historical Red-Green Alliance. It was used during the 1979 Iran Revolution, and we all know how that turned out. Well, yeah, I think they're trying to repeat that success here, aren't they? And here we have Dacey. This is something we alerted to earlier here. This is like Susan is Here's video, is it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Wow, this is incredible. So you're saying staff at Winchester Hospital calling OPP over a mask. This is still happening via Susan is Here. Please share update. I am allowed to film in this public lobby according to WDMH policy. I can't film staff, so that's why the faces are blurred. March 1st, 2024, had a mammogram scheduled at Winchester and District Memorial Hospital. The director, shown here, refused to let me have my mammogram because I would not comply to the mask or face shield protocol. He had the ladies' auxiliary volunteer, called the OPP, tried to intimidate me by bringing 18 staff out, plus the assistants to the CEO. In the end, I got my mammogram because they were wrong and I was not breaking the law. The cops never showed up. Last night, the OPP called me to let me know that I am not being criminally charged with quote unquote causing disturbance, according to the criminal code, section 175. Like, these people are the ones who are disturbing. Geez, it's still going on out there, eh, Dacey?
Yeah, I mean, it's this you would, if you didn't know better, like that's what people were questioning. When did this happen? Everyone was automatically assuming that it was 2 years ago. But I mean, this is going on right now. This is Winchester and District Memorial Hospital, and I think this part might be a part of the Ottawa hospital, like one of the auxiliary campuses, possibly too. But this is just outside of Ottawa, and I mean, this stuff, like watch what happens here. This stuff is still going on, and I highly doubt this is an isolated incident.
Yeah, me too.
And our patients.
No, it's not for the protection. Okay. It's bullshit.
Okay.
The Ontario Health Minister. No,
I've given you the information you've asked for.
Yeah.
Okay, I've given you several options.
Well, you're lying.
It's up to you.
You're lying. You know that, eh?
No, that's
or
the
they've
CEO's
brainwashed you to comply so that you keep your job. And I bet you they gave you a little bonus too. A nice little bonus, both of you. Did you get a bonus? Did you get a bonus?
I did not get a bonus. But that's not, my payroll is not up for discussion here. Ma'am, please, it's up.
I think this looks like a pride pin of some kind, the rainbow pin.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's a pride pin on there for sure. Yeah. Good catch.
Your procedure done, or you can step outside.
I will not wear a mask.
Then you may step outside.
This is a public.
This is private.
This is
private.
funded
This is private
by
property.
my tax money.
This is private property.
But we fund
This is private property.
Oh, it's private property.
Can you
A
please call the
hospital,
OPP?
don't call the OPP, for fuck's sakes. Are you well in the head?
Ma'am,
Are you well?
I think we need to de-escalate this. If
Oh,
you could
shut
please step out.
You're just, no. You know, I wanted to record all of this because it's just too much.
I understand.
This is
I understand your frustration.
4 years of this.
Please do.
Don't call the OPP. I'll tell the OPP. And you know what? Whenever they arrest people or remove them, I've seen plenty of videos. They don't charge them with anything. They don't get charged because it's not illegal. It's not against the law. There is no law. I have a right as a
You have been asked to
Canadian.
leave the property. It becomes trespassing at this point, okay?
No,
Please.
I can say whatever. I have free speech.
I'm not saying you can't speak. I'm just saying that.
Well, how can you hear me when I'm outside? Want to go outside?
I do not.
No. See? So how am I going to speak with you? I didn't think that I would have to ever do this in this hospital. I've been to the emergency several times. I've been to many hospitals. I have a brain aneurysm. I have all kinds of things going on. I have all kinds of things. Did you really call the OPP? You really called the OPP?
She is a volunteer. Please be respectful. You know,
I just asked her a
It's
question.
not necessary to treat people who are volunteering their
Oh,
time in
shut
a
up.
hospital. There are
You are the
registration
one that
firsts.
told her to do it.
Yeah. But you
And
don't
what
need to talk
happens
to me
when they
that way.
come all the way here and use all those resources because you can't handle me? Right? Because you can't handle a person in stress,
I actually
under distress.
I have work to do. That's
Oh,
part of the
yeah,
problem.
you go do your work then. Go on, go ahead. Do your work.
I need you to please leave because you're harassing our volunteers.
Well, I'm not gonna leave until you leave. How's that?
Well, I work here, so I'm.
Well, I'll keep you here all afternoon.
I'm calling from the information.
And whenever the police come, I'll tell them the same thing. I'm not doing anything against the law.
Yeah. Can you actually? I'm wondering, maybe it's worth getting more staff over here.
Yeah. Oh, get more staff. You go get more staff. Go on. Are you a man or a mouse?
Tell them, Susan.
Just
Yeah,
comply,
I
right?
understand. I
You just
understand
have to
your
comply. Got to keep that job. 6 figures, I bet. Hey, you know how much I make?
Ma'am, I'm asking
You
you
know
to
how
leave.
much I make? 17,000 a year.
I'm asking you to leave.
17,000 a year, and I can't even go and get a.
You absolutely can.
No,
if you
I
put a
can't.
mask or face shield on.
No, it's BS. It's BS. There's no way I'm going to wear one.
Police.
I'm not wearing your face
You
shield.
don't have to wear one. You may leave at any time. Nobody's keeping you here.
So when I came here for cellulitis, which was another, anyway, doesn't matter where I got it. I didn't wear a mask. I saw 2 doctors because they couldn't figure out what it was. Nurses walked by me. I sat in there and I had it looped on my ear and I was drinking a coffee. And you know what? All the people that looked at me, I nodded and they took theirs off too. They took theirs off too. Are you going to arrest all of us? You know, I'm not breaking the law, right? I am not breaking the law. By not wearing a face mask, I am not breaking the law. Oh, you're going to get the cavalry out now.
What is it, 5-1?
Aren't you a bunch of nice people?
It's Winchester Hospital. We're just around the corner from the.
And what's your name?
My name?
Yeah. Take your mask off. I can't hear you.
I'm not going to do that, but thank you for asking.
We've been over everything already.
Okay.
No point in answering.
Look at all those people they're bringing in.
Look at all the stuff they got. There's this one and this one. You're on a live, right? This one, this one, this one.
Holy jumping.
I've probably seen some of you before. That one. You're gonna kick me out? Oh, there's another one. There's another one.
Can we take a moment
There's
to go
another
talk?
one, and another one, all because I wouldn't wear a face mask. Oh, there's some more here. You, Sarah. And what's your name?
I'm just helping patients.
Oh, you're helping, all right. How about your name?
Don't put that in my face, please.
Oh, but they can call the OPP, so I leave.
I just got here. If you just stay at the desk there, that would be
I'm not
great.
staying at the desk. I'll walk where I want. It's free. It's a free world. Or at least that's what I thought. This is what the Winchester Hospital does. Yeah. This is what the Winchester Hospital does. Jessica.
I'm going to ask you to
Brunette. And
Excuse me,
Nick
Nick. I'm going to ask you to stop doing that.
Rideout.
You can come over here.
No.
Yeah, just come over here.
You can't tell me what to do.
Maybe social.
This is our property. This is our property. So if you can just stand at the desk, that's all we're asking.
I'm enjoying this.
Our property.
There we go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
If you guys can all come out here and try and intimidate me,
Yep, I'm intimidating her.
I'll find out who you are.
Yeah.
If you think that this is legal, you got another thing coming, honey, because it ain't legal. When the OPP come, I'm going to wait till they come.
Okay.
They will not arrest me.
Okay.
I will not get arrested.
Okay.
And you know what? I'm kind of enjoying this. Just to see the display that you all do because of a fucking mask that is a virus, so-called. Eh?
This is
A
Jamie, if you'd like to
respiratory-
speak.
I don't care about Jamie right now. I'm talking to you.
Okay.
The mask is 40 microns. The virus, any virus, is about 3 microns. It's like a mosquito going through a chain link fence. It's ridiculous. It goes right through the mask, and you're all brainwashed because you have to keep your jobs.
So
I don't make your salary. I make about $17,000 a year, self-employed. I'm lucky I have OHIP, but I can't even go get my mammogram. I haven't had because it's been delayed because of COVID. This is wrong.
So,
what is your problem now?
So, hi, I'm Jamie. If you can stop videotaping.
What's your name?
My name is Janie.
Janie.
So if you can
What's
stop
your last name?
if you can stop videotaping, we'll bring you to your appointment. Okay. We'll just make sure that our staff is wearing the gowns that they need to wear, but you can come to your appointment. Okay?
Really?
Yes.
I'm too late for it now. I missed it.
No, I'm
Because
sure
of all
we can
this
still see you.
bullshit.
We can still see you. Okay. So give us a few minutes. We'll make sure the setup is appropriate, and then you can come to your appointment. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So if you can just have a seat.
Well, I guess you got through anyway. So
What a job.
That was good to see.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
fantastic job, Susan. That was amazing.
I don't think she could have handled that any better. Like the amount of people they brought out trying to intimidate her, threatening her with the police, it was incredibly well handled. And I might just an interesting bit of information. There is no mandate or first of all, there's no law, but there's no mandate requiring masks for patients in any setting at this point. I don't believe. And in fact, last week I believe it was the mandate for staff in long-term care facilities was rescinded as well. So even staff in long-term care now are not required to mask. That's taken a while to trickle down, and perhaps some places will try to keep their own policies in place. But as far as coming down from public health, no longer required. So the guy, if he's saying that that it's required or it's some sort of law or mandate, he's absolutely lying through his teeth. He knows better.
Yeah, and he's a tyrant, really. I think that's the thing, is they just
100%
push people around. Like they have this social license now to kind of pick on people who are different from them, and so that's what they're going to do.
The gall of this guy too, man. He's standing there, his body language, his hands cupped like that, and he starts trying to give Susan or accusing Susan of putting this volunteer in an uncomfortable or bad position. Well, this guy is making a volunteer break the law, actually. Like trample on people's rights and break the law and bring in police to possibly violently deal with this person who hasn't done anything wrong. It's the gentleman there that put that volunteer in an unacceptable position, not Susan.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. And she's saying, Susan is here saying, the Winchester Hospital has flagged my file as a violent person. Good Lord.
Disgusting.
Oh yeah. I mean, it sounds like defamation to me.
I think she commented there like code white, like somebody's attacking somebody in the hospital or whatever. I don't know all the different codes, but they called a code on her and brought in everybody.
Yeah,
it's disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And that man, if you can call him that, should be absolutely ashamed of himself. He needs to be publicly called out and shamed.
Yeah, 1,000%. And great job. Like I love how she gets the name tags, like even though she's gonna blur out the
they're covering them up. Yeah, come on. I don't know about it would be interesting. Like, I mean, she tried to do the right thing here and blurred all those faces out. I don't know if that's law. I don't believe so. I mean, anywhere that you can film in public, there's no expectation of privacy, particularly if you're a public servant.
Yeah. Well, and the idea that this is private property as well, it's pretty clearly public.
It's ludicrous. Yeah, ludicrous.
Yeah, unbelievable. And I was getting some comments over here on YouTube. Armor of Goddard says, what's worse, a mask for your face or a mask on your minds? Seems most people are still indoctrinated by Israel propaganda. Well, that's silly. It's clearly Chinese propaganda. I've debunked a lot of this Israel BS like millions of times already, it seems. Yeah, I mean, the Chinese Communist Party, not the Chinese Communist Party, but the PLA itself, the People's Liberation Army, has a 5-pronged strategy that's articulated in Unrestricted Warfare that the Chinese generals published. And one of those prongs is actually media. They captured media. And, I think if the Jews were controlling our media, then the CBC wouldn't have reported that Israel started the war, when in fact it was the October 7th massacre initiated by Hamas. And the CTV wouldn't have run clips of the war war and casualties of it during their Hanukkah broadcast while they were showing scenes of Hanukkah, and clipped that in there. So yeah, somebody's buying the propaganda, but it's not me. Okay, that brings us all the way up to the Veterans for Freedom website, folks. So you can donate to our support fund here, and we're going to use that money to help Canadians who are suffering under this tyranny. Sign up by using one of the buttons here to donate with your credit card every month. And if you don't want to use a credit card, you can send your e-transfer to fund@veteransforfreedom.ca. That's fund@veterans4freedom.ca. Auto deposit enabled, preferably, but if you're not able to do that, then please use the password Fund for Freedom. That's all caps Fund, number 4, Freedom. And we'll make sure that that gets off to a very worthy cause and deserving Canadian out there. And that brings us all the way back to Rene Descartes. And he says, to know what people really think, pay regard to what they do rather than what they say. And that is kind of the irony of it all, is that the people that are just socially abusing the rest of us, they walk around and put on airs like they're the good people, like we're the really good people, and they're just bullies and tyrants. So pay attention to what they do. Over to you, Dacey. You want to wrap this up for us with the final word?
Yeah, well, like you say, actions definitely speak louder than words. Watch what these people do, and you'll know exactly who they are. But just, yeah, no, that was a great recap. I appreciate being able to get that stuff kind of put out in a somewhat concise way and tell the story a little bit. It's nice to reconnect, and the weather's getting a little nicer. Protest season's coming, and all kinds of scandals and politics going on. So I'm sure I'll have a lot more for you on another one of these coming soon.
Yeah, I think the momentum is starting to build here. Like early 2024, we see a lot of victories. Not a lot of victories, but some pretty big ones. I mean, there was the federal court's decision that declared the invocation of the Emergencies Act ultra vires. And I mean, I got my mask violation dropped, and I'm just seeing like the wind starting to pile up in the courts here. So I hope that's a good sign for 2024 that the momentum is shifting, even though I think we'll probably setback at some point.
I think it is shifting. In Ottawa, we have Chris and Tamara will be back in town soon, so that's still, part of that case will be resuming at least. There's a lot still up in the air in that case, and different legal motions coming. And there's another tribunal hearing for Detective Helen Gruss of OPS coming up in March. So that's going to be could be some very interesting developments out of that one. If people want to know more about what's developing with the Helen Gruss, check out the Levine show with Donald Best, and I was on there this morning. So there's some good info there about how things are going with that case.
Yeah, right on. They've been all over that. Great coverage on Coots 4 and Helen Gruss. So we appreciate that. And okay, I'll throw out a few comments here, guys. Cora saying thanks again, Chris and Jeff. Remember to have at least one pre-thought crime today, meaning on original thought. Don't mind if I do. Way ahead of you, in fact. And Cindy is saying Windsor for mine. I think that's probably for the ladies are talking about some health stuff. And Marion says, thank you, Jeff and Chris. Awesome show. And Rob says, have a great day, everyone. Anne is saying, good job, guys. Thanks, Anne. And Steven says, Dacey, mention you're live tonight. Are you doing a live tonight?
Oh, yeah, man. I got so many going on. So there's a group that's organizing a carbon tax protest, a nationwide carbon tax protest. It's going to be taking place at basically every provincial border and maybe some more places. So it's specifically a carbon tax related protest. But I will be joining some of the group that's trying to get that organized tonight. Don't know if it's 8 or 9. I'll share that out later today. But I mean, there's still a bit more for me to learn, but I'll be on with them, so they'll be able to explain, and so I can get informed, and then the rest of the country too can figure out what's going on. That's scheduled for April 1st. The nationwide carbon tax protest. So, I mean, the carbon tax, that's affecting everyone. Farmers, like we saw in Rimouski last week, farmers affected. I mean, everybody's affected. Food prices are through the roof. Energy costs are unsustainable, and it's only getting worse. And then coming in April, we're looking at a 20-something% increase, I believe, in the carbon tax. So right around the corner, it's immediately going to get worse. So this is affecting a lot of people.
Yeah, 1,000%. It's going to be
huge.
Thanks
for the reminder there, Stephen.
So April 1st, everybody carbon tax protest, and that's going on like coast to coast on all the different provincial borders. We'll be keeping an eye out for that one and hopefully get some updates. Let me know, Chris. Let me know what comes out of it. Yeah. All right. And that's it for us for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, stay frosty and stay safe.
Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? It's all I ever have. Redemption songs.